Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. We're all here. We're so happy. This is episode 90.
90. And did you know if you look on our account, this is the 98th episode we put out. And so in 2 more, we will have 100 videos on our YouTube page.
Oh, well, we've done like clips and stuff. Do you count that?
I'm just saying, according to their count, this will be 98th video.
Okay. We're
That means
still doing it somehow.
Yeah, that means our auction's going to be the big 100.
Oh, we should have a party. We have to sing happy birthday to
Does your
Chris.
dog sing on command? He just muted himself.
All right, quick. Do like a couple shout outs and we'll get into sponsors while the dogs sing.
We always do shout outs last.
Okay, well then do whatever order you want. You're in charge.
I'm in charge. That's never good. Tara, Quirky Snakes, Mainsmore, Bohemian, Autumn Leaves Exotic, Texas Kid. He will be at the auction. Andrew, Marissa, Jared, Serpent House. I think that's actually everybody.
Hi, everybody. We're all here, and I thank you for coming. Really quickly, as always, vetdna.com for all of your testing needs. I used VetDNA last week, and all of Jana's snakes, pure boa panel.
Still pure.
Still pure.
Still pure.
And sunshine virus and stuff.
Which I definitely didn't test for.
Right. So that means they're quad pure now. Wow.
Quad pure.
And so you too could be quad pure if you wanted. If you went to vetdna.com and you tested your snakes for various or turtles or whatever else you had.
I had several people test on intake, which was exciting. But I guess, hosted by us, it makes sense. And so it was really fun to get still negatives from other people. Like, yeah, I feel pretty good about myself.
A 3-month post first test negative from Calyx, which
that's awesome. Handle.
Right, so I get that too. So that's good.
Yeah, it just always makes me feel
the system works somehow.
Like we're doing it right, even if it's a negative. We're doing it right because they tested. I mean, even if it's a positive, it's just like it's still the right process is happening, and it makes me feel good.
Who else is doing the right process, Jana? That's our sponsors.
I was aware, but I was trying to think if you were quizzing me on who.
I just mean like they're all doing it right. So
they're all doing it right. So the OG, Mr. Shane Kelley, who actually just signed on for another year. So
bless his heart. He's got like Stockholm syndrome or something.
So Small Town Exotics, you can find them on every social media. And he has some fun videos on YouTube and does a bunch of species. And we're grateful that he has signed on for another year of abuse from us.
Yeah. He has a bunch of bells. Check out his husbandry store site. husbandry.org/Small Town Exotics or something.
Hey, that was not me, so I'll take that win. And then we have Justin with Stoneage Ball Pythons in the Northwest. Thank you for sponsoring the podcast. We have Chris from BNS Reptilia. Thank you for sponsoring the podcast. Eileen with Bravo Zulu. Thank you for your continued support. She just signed on for another 6 months, so that's pretty exciting. Still likes us. Maybe we're not being obnoxious enough. I could try. And then Great Family Snakes. Thank you for continuing to sponsor the podcast. And then last but never least, Powerhouse Pythons, who is here today to talk to us and give us all the inside scoop over everything. Yeah. Nothing's off the table, right, Andy?
I did.
Quirky asked if we're talking about powering up ball python collections with more balls or different species. I think we will talk about both of these things because our guest has done both versions. And I just wanted to make like a pun on Powerhouse. So that's mostly what it is. Yeah. And Marissa tested corn snakes, which were crypto negative. Good job. Hopefully use code. Shit happens. Whew. All right, let's let's do like the 60-second elevator pitch in case there's a national person who's not a local PNW person, doesn't know you.
Yet.
Please.
Yet.
I'm Andrew with Powerhouse Pythons, breeder in the PNW. It's where I met Jana and Jessica at the local shows. Working with high-end ball pythons, and I've also branched out into a couple other species. Have some Stimson's pythons and leopard geckos. Actually looking at possibly getting into one or two other species as well.
Which ones are catching your eye?
Right now, I'm kind of looking at possibly either boas or green trees. I haven't really decided. I like to research quite a bit before I actually make a commitment to going out there. I can't just be like, oh, that looks cool, and go buy one at the show. Mm-hmm. So
I'm the same way. I never know every in and out before I even think about buying one of these.
Yeah.
Would you want to pick the species to fit like a certain need in your program, or just to have something else to work? Or
I just generally, like, my rule of thumb is like I buy stuff I like. And I always thought green trees look amazing. Boas, there's, a lot going on with them. I like the bigger species. I was interested in getting into berms, but my wife shut that down. She said a little too big.
Yeah.
Good job, wife.
Yeah. So yeah, I've just been looking to have something else that I have to have a passion about it to breed it, or keep it as a pet even. And so still kind of looking into it and seeing what I would really like the most before I add it. And I probably won't add both of them at the same time. I'll slowly ease into getting one new species.
So will you, are you running out of space? Do you have plans for a facility? Where are you going to store these giant animals?
So right now I do still have space in my current reptile room, but plans are probably in the next 2 years I'm hoping that's the time frame to move into a facility. My wife will love that, to have an extra room back in her house as well.
I was just going to say, are your snakes going to get kicked out for the baby?
Yeah, that's probably a realistic thing, that the snakes will get moved to a facility and the baby will have a little more room.
Would it be on site, or would you be renting a commercial space?
Decisions still being made. We're looking at both.
Get
I have enough room
that has it on your property.
Yeah, I have enough room here to add a building to the property, but it might be nicer to have something off-site as well. So still weighing the options and seeing the cost benefit to each. It would be nice to have it here just for, ease and accessibility, but having an offsite would be kind of nice too, because then I could have almost like a storefront.
Yeah, especially since you do so many rodent sales, you can then also do your snake sales.
Exactly. Yep.
Just build a tin can building next to Hurricane Alley. I'm sure it'll be fine. We actually don't get hurricanes, and we have tsunami routes in our area, but
They're probably confused. I'm wearing a Colorado hat, but I'm into.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he's like 30 minutes from me, so he's in Washington as well, and we don't get that kind of weather here.
Yeah.
Gerald might be making fun of me because I live in a hurricane or tornado alley and with a tin can snake shack.
Did that big storm over there affect you? No?
Who are you talking to?
I was talking to you. I would know if the storm affected him because I live here.
Oh, well, what storm?
Okay, then the answer is no.
We have like a tornado, like a supercell form, like once every other day somewhere within like an hour of me. It's just like random luck if you draw the right trap card from the fucking universe and it happens to land a tornado on your asshole. So you'll never know. I'll just be dead. The podcast will
Well, at least you don't have to worry about somebody taking care of your animals because they'll be dead with you.
Well, they'll probably be free, right? They don't weigh a lot, so even if they got hit terminal velocity and fell down, as long as they didn't hit anything super hard, they'd probably be like, "Let's go, motherfucker," and they're gone. Sorry. Oh yeah, see, Gerald said it was a joke, but I took it personally. Kidding. Okay, so let's so we're how many snakes do you have now if you're thinking about a facility, and how big do you think you want to be, I guess is the question.
So right now we're sitting, I haven't done a count lately. I mean,
within 50.
Yeah, I mean, within 50, we're probably 150 to 175 right now. And there's kind of a big plan this year. We want to expand pretty drastically. We're hoping to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 300-ish by next year. So almost doubling in size.
Wow.
While you work,
and we're doing a lot of pullbacks this year with the way the market is kind of slowed down. So we bred a lot of double and triple hets this year, kind of building for the future. Mm-hmm. So there'll be a lot more holdbacks this year. Won't have quite as much for sale. We're just kind of.
I feel like that's a good year, though.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're like, mine.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not going to be able to get what the snakes are worth, there's no sense in just selling it because the market's low right now. Because eventually it's going to recover. So we're just holding back a little more than we normally would, and breeding quite a bit more on the double and triple hets than we were in the past, or looking at in the past.
All right, there was like a big argument on World of Ball Python's Facebook group posted yesterday about whether or not people did pair less in expectation of 23 being slow, or would pair less in 24 also. What is your take on that hypothetical decision? And I guess Jana can answer also.
I didn't pair any less because I'm fairly new to this, so I kind of look to some of the senior guys to give me guidance and advice. And I've talked to a couple people, and they've really kind of pointed out that, if you pull back your pairings and you miss that one key animal, it sets you back a year or two. If you're not pairing for your key animals to hold back. So if you pair less, wait more, you're not going to have those animals, and it just puts you farther back behind where you would be. So I personally didn't change anything. I didn't do any pairings that were like show fodder stuff. Those were the pairings those are the ones that I cut back on, just because I know there wasn't as much demand for the low end right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that counts still as pairing less, like choosing not to like heavy feed and then pair a female where you really don't want anything from that clutch at all, really. Even if you wouldn't count it as show fodder, it's just like stuff. I still think you did pair less a little bit, but a lot of people are like, I would never pair less. If I get $80 for the snake, it's still a profit because I use slave labor to raise my rats, and I grow them all on free cheese I got from the dumpster. I was like, whoa, calm down. We don't necessarily need a bunch of $100 snakes, even if you could make a profit on a $100 snake. So maybe that one pairing shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I mean, one of the rules of thumb I kind of use is there any possibility in this pairing that there's, I don't know how to word this. I wouldn't do a pairing unless there was a outcome where I would hold back a snake. If there's nothing I would ever hold back out of the pairing, it's probably not worth doing. And I see a lot of people doing that, especially like the newer people. Like there's not a lot of good outcome pairing a pastel to an Enchi. You know, I mean, you're not gonna get anything that
The power is here,
yeah.
Dylan. Let's get a gun show. Everybody do the gun show.
I don't got any guns.
It doesn't matter. Fake it. We need power, apparently.
Oh yeah.
Well, Andrew, where's your gun show?
Oh.
Come on. All right, there we go.
I'm off camera. Wrong one.
Oh yeah, there you go, Dylan.
There's a real gun instead of my fake ones. I think that that's absolutely the same page that I'm on, and I think that's why you're hearing from your mentors to not stop breeding, because if your breeding has a purpose and it's advancing you, then taking a break only hurts you, just like you said. And if your pairings, if you are producing something that you don't want yourself, then that's a pairing that doesn't need to happen. That's what I'm doing. Anything that I want to see for holdbacks is getting paired. Anything that I'm like, I would never keep anything, I don't care how beautiful it was from this clutch, those pairings aren't happening.
Yeah. I mean, if this was two years ago, those pairings still fine because you could sell all those animals at shows in a blink of an eye. But now that the market's kind of, you know, correcting itself, those animals are a little harder to sell, and you're not going to be able to get rid of them fast enough. And by the time you account for, you know, feeding those animals, housing those animals, those $100 animals you're not making any money off of, because
you might even be losing.
Yeah, you're probably losing money. It's not a, you know, if it's, you probably are.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
My problem now is the prices came down so much. Things that I made to keep have now become so cheap. I could buy a better version of it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So like you did like a 2 gene double het, and you can buy a visual 2 gene het the other.
Right. So I might as well sell them.
Right.
Even though I made them because they were $400 more expensive, that version of it last year, but now they're not. So I might as well sell all of them and buy the one better, more powerful, whatever of that kind. And I didn't make like they weren't like terrible pairings, but the pairings have like terrible themselves over time now, because they're all like head clown, paws, head ghost. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. It doesn't matter male, female. It has to be a visual or a visual head, a recessive that's.
Yeah, even the double hets in really important projects are
30 cents.
Crashing. Yeah, like for free. Buy one, get one.
Yeah. So some of them have crashed pretty hard, pretty fast, but most of the staple projects, though, have not tanked horribly. You know,
I don't know about all that.
How do you feel about the tanking of Clown Pie? Because I know you're in that.
Yeah, Clown. So here's the thing about Clown Pied. If you look at it, the base Clown Pieds have drastically gone down. But if you're still breeding for those pairings with, you know, 1 or 2 genes plus your Clown Pieds, those animals did not drop that much. They dropped a little bit, but everything's dropped with the economy the way it is. But
well, the project was due for a little bit of a dip.
It was, and all projects gradually. I mean, it's basic economics. The more of those animals that are available, the more they're going to drop, and the longer the project's been around, the more animals there's going to be available. So you're going to see the price of the projects drop, but if you're constantly bettering your project and adding more and more genes into it, the price is going to go up, not down, because you're adding stuff no one else has. And when you have stuff no one else has, you kind of get to set the market, and you're the one that decides what it's worth.
So what is your strategy for adding in a incomplete dominant to a double recessive right this second, knowing that like some prestige incomplete dominants are actually quite cheap now? They've fallen down a lot. Would you rather go like pay the like prestige incomplete dominant double price and get a male of that, or a male double het and quickly breed it to your double visuals? Or like what's your preferred way to do that at this moment in time?
it all depends on, I mean, a lot of things changed around here with the wife being pregnant. My funding is slowed down quite a bit. So, I mean, if money's not an issue, yeah, of course you want to get the male with the double head on it and just get those animals on the market as quick as possible, or have them to hold back as quick as possible. Because even when you do that, you're not going to sell all those animals. You're going to hold them back because then you're going to add something else into it as well. So, I mean, it really depends. Right now, we're looking to add probably 1 or 2 major incomplete dominants to a lot of our projects. This year, we're looking at getting into new projects on top of what we currently have. So it's not really about adding incomplete dominants. It's just getting whole new projects. So,
well, what projects are you in now for just like generally?
So my 3 big double recessive projects right now are DG Clown, Dreamsicle, and Clown Pied. Those are my 3 biggest double recessives right now. And obviously working in some other stuff into them. Hypo, want to be working in some G-stripe to some of those as well. So for the triples. Yeah, I know. Jana gets excited anytime you talk about Kiki.
No, I get excited whenever I hear G-stripe come out of people's mouth, and I don't care if it has to be associated with Kiki. I love the gene, the single, but in order to have any relevance in the industry right now, you have to have the Clown Pied project, which I also love, and it's got a lot of room to still discover things. But my G-stripe. That's my girl.
Yeah.
So walk us back in time and tell us how you got here today.
So I don't know, way back in time, are we talking like what initially got me into ball pythons?
When did you buy your first reptile? When did you decide you were going to breed? When did you take a break?
Okay. So if we want to go way back, I was about 12 years old, and my brother actually got a ball python when he was about 9. And of course, you know, if you're a sibling, you got to have what your brother has. So we both got ball pythons, and this was way back in the day when nobody knew what they were doing. We weren't trying to breed, they were just pets, but just had, you know, we had the heat lamps and the carpet and like all the stuff you don't want to do with a ball python. So, I mean, complete novices, but we loved having the ball pythons. And then for my brother, it kind of escalated. He got really into the reptile world. He was a retic breeder for quite a few years, and I saw that, and I kind of stepped back from reptiles, and we went on a family vacation down to Disneyland. And my brother, being in the retic community, he wanted to go to Jay Brewer's place down in Anaheim. Yeah, it's a little scary now that I look back. I didn't know any better.
Right.
I didn't
Put your
know any
judgment in your back pocket, Jessica.
But it did kind of make me realize that it was a viable business. I never thought about, you know, breeding reptiles as a business. And so I thought about it, and I was like, well, I don't want to breed retics because my brother does that, and it's just too much, and they're huge and hard to sell. So I started looking into ball pythons, and I came across some videos, you know, YouTube, the Miguel videos, Billy.
Wait, are you a COVID baby?
I am a COVID baby.
I didn't know that. I thought you've been around a lot longer than that. That's funny. Okay.
No,
sorry,
I haven't been around that long. This is season number 4. So
okay, yeah.
So you started buying in 2019?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're like slightly pre.
He's like, you're a little bit pre-COVID baby.
Yeah, pre-me.
You could be like, no, I'm not a COVID baby. I do this all on my own.
Yeah, I didn't have the, you know, I wasn't spending the COVID checks on snakes or anything like that to get started. But just kind of came across a lot of these videos, and I decided, well, we'll give it a try. So I bought a small collection. I wouldn't, it was a good way to learn, but definitely wouldn't start that way again. I bought a lot of low-end breeder size females, lots of spider in them.
It's so good to learn on, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good learning experience. Got my first clutches, learned what to do and what not to do. And I'm glad I made the mistakes I made on those versus some of my higher end animals.
On $100 animal rather than a $5,000 animal. Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is now is, I'm still trying to get rid of some of those original animals because nobody wants, the beginner gene.
We like to call those freeloaders at my house.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the more I got into it, after I hatched my first 2 clutches my first season, it's like a drug. Like literally got addicted to breeding and hatching ball pythons and everything like that. So decided to invest a little bit more money into it, and then kind of decided that if I was going to be serious about it, I needed to up my education. So I ended up joining Patreons for a couple different people. Like I'm going to give a shout out. Like I learned more from Billy's Patreon than anywhere else, and just really his Patreon has helped me kind of change the way I look at my collection and try to.
Even if you don't buy into the mentorship level, there's just so much good information you can glean just by watching the videos on there.
Yeah, well, and it's not even the mentorship level. I was at a lower tier for a long time on his Patreon, and there's a lot of good information on the lower tiers too.
That's what I was saying is I never was on a higher tier, and I still got so much good information about how to look at your projects.
Yeah. So it's changed, the way that I've looked at it. I've added a lot of, it's taught me that, you don't have to have, 1,000 animals to be successful in this. You can have one rack of just like crazy ass animals in it and do better than the guy with 300 animals. It's all about making sure that you're buying the right animals versus, what's available. So really got heavy into it once I got onto the Patreons, took out some loans.
What?
Now that is the Billy way. I did not do it that way.
Took out some loans, invested in some higher end animals.
Like, can I ask? You can decline if you don't want to. Like a personal loan or like a home equity line of credit?
Yeah, I took a home equity line.
Okay, that's better.
Way better.
Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh on that credit card.
You're giving me like anxiety a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't borrow, $50,000 from, Visa credit card or anything.
Right,
like
and
that.
some people will take like a line of credit from their 401k instead of cashing it out, and that's better too.
Yeah,
it's just like when people do like an unsecured 23%.
Yeah,
personal loan. I just want to slowly end it all.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing like a high interest loan, but did jump my collection years in advance, and the money I'm going to make off those animals is going to pay the loan back in no time. So
and this is sort of what I want to get at, is how are you deciding to manage that? Are you buying the young but like powerful, or a little bit older but much more powerful so you can like return on investment within a year-ish, or a combination of all those things?
How do you get into a project?
Well, I mean, how do you like fix the course from like old collection to the upgraded collection, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, so I see merit to both ways of doing it. Me personally, I bought the younger animals. I bought the most powerful stuff I could get. I did go through a phase, and I mean, Jana will testify to it. When I was at the expo, I'd just go into a buying frenzy. And I'd
Big
be
baller
buying.
would have his wad of cash, and he'd be like, "How
Yeah,
many?"
and I bought a lot of shit I should not have bought when I was expo shopping, and it's kind of, you know, and like I was saying earlier with Billy's Patreon, I kind of learned that now I go to the local expo, and I'm usually hard pressed to find, you know, more than one or two animals in the whole place that I would even
Cue ball.
Exactly.
Don't stop by his table if you don't want to spend real money.
The tables that at our local expos give shout outs to, that I always stop by Jana's table.
Not for the snakes though.
Oh yeah, just the bullshit. But stop by Jana's table. Mike at Rip City has some great animals as well. Cue Ball always has amazing, most of which I can't afford most of the time. But yeah, I mean, there's some great local breeders with a lot of stuff that.
And they probably, I think that's like a question. Is like they don't necessarily bring all their good stuff.
They don't.
So would you have like wanted to buy more locally if we were better at communicating, like with each other, what we had?
Yes and no. Like, so what I've learned to do at the local expos is I know the people that I would buy from. And the other thing too is I like to buy from people that I can look at their animals and tell they're well taken care of. So there's a lot of people I won't even look at what they have on their table just because I see how their animals, you know.
Sorry, Justin says he is missing the love from Daddy Robot.
You're never at the expos, man. And you're at Cue Ball's table, so of course
and he doesn't have assistants. So what the heck?
Yeah.
No, he always has assistants at his table.
Yeah. So
other kinds.
Anyway, so I know who I'm going to look for. So I know what I find those people, and then I look at what projects they're in that I'm also in, and instead of looking at what they have at the expo, I'll ask them, "Hey, what do you have coming, or what do you have at home?"
Right.
Where's the good shit you're hiding? Because I see that
what's behind the curtain.
Right, that you have some double head clown pies here, but where's the real good ones? The wink ones.
And you know, you'd be shocked sometimes. Like I went to last year, I was at an expo and I was talking to Wayne, and I told him my animal I needed, and he's like, "Oh, I have one. It's under the table." And he just reached down in a bag and he pulled out this breeder male. I was like, "I want it." And so, I mean, if you don't ask, you're never going to find those deals. And I'm finding now, like when you are trying to find a specific animal that fits your project, you can't just like always go on Morph Market or go to the expo. Like you have to email people and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this. If you hatch it, let me know." And that's how these people are getting the super nice high-end animals. It's the people that are reaching out, writing emails, getting on lists.
The real breeder animals are being sold. They're not being sold on Morph Market.
No. Like they go on Morph Market if they don't have a buyer for them in the first, 2-3 weeks that they've had them. Some people are better about listing too. I mean, some of these breeders, they might be 6 months old before they hit.
I was going to say they're hoarding them in the corner. There's also a local chat, and so you can see what projects the other guys are working on. You can see what eggs they have in their incubator. When they hatch, there's always pictures being put out. So like, if you're in contact with your local area and you want to buy locally from the people around you, there are things you can do like a chat where you can just be throwing out. So you always kind of know where other people's collections are. And so if you need something, or if they don't have what you need and you say, "I'm looking for this," they're going to know somebody who's hatching something in that range. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Autumn Leaves asks, would you personally use the Morph Market waitlist feature like this, or do you like having it still be old school chats when you decide to list your snakes one day?
I'm kind of old school. I call people, I email people. Like Jana said, the group chat in our local area is really good. I don't really utilize the morph market wait list feature. I mean, I may be missing the boat on that, but I don't know.
Are you going to utilize the Husbandry Pro feature that lets people see like what's in your incubator and stuff?
I am, but like this year, like I said, I'm breeding more double and triple heads, and most of it's stuff I'm going to hold back anyway. So I don't know if it would really, excite many people because.
But in the future, you will be.
Yeah, in the future, I probably will use that more. Right now, it's just like nobody
I wish
wants.
you showed a picture of the parents. Like if you look in someone's incubator, it just says like the genotype or whatever, and then how many days till they hatch, and the eggs number. But it would be cool if it like had the parents floating, so you're like, oh, that's what I'm getting ready to get into. But it doesn't.
Huh? Yeah, that would be.
What's his name? Robert. Robert.
Yeah, Robert.
Robert, get on that. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to write a ticket, Jessica. I mean, that guy's amazing.
Every time I write a ticket for my feeding notifications not working for the 40th time, he probably wants to kill me. So I just stopped.
You're not the only one that writes tickets to Robert like on a daily.
There's something about the notification bug. It's been okay for like a week. Has yours been okay? You're a Husbandry Pro.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems with it.
But he also has ball pythons, not 50,000 other things that she needs daily reminders of who needs to eat.
I think it was like a known bug because it was in the Facebook Husbandry Pro group that like all notifications wouldn't go away for certain people, even though you're like, I fed it. It's like, just kidding, you didn't. But it would like tag the activity. So I'd keep being like, feed it. And I'm like, I fed the snake 40 times in one day. Why isn't it going away? So he had to like reset my notifications or something. That didn't happen to you?
I don't know. I haven't noticed any problems with it. And I actually do use that feature quite a bit, especially now with the Stimsons I have. Because the babies, you got to feed them like every 5 days. And my ball pythons are every 14 days. So, the days don't always line up to do a full feeding day.
It never lines up. Once a year it lines up.
Yeah.
And it's the day you don't want it to line up because you have something you need to get to after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like desperately need Husbandry Pro's like feeding notifications to make sense. Otherwise, I would forget everything. Like, I don't know, some hundreds of animals.
It's probably 300 now, Jessica. It might be more with the babies.
Yeah, there's way more. There's
You're
a lot.
The 400s?
There's many corn snakes that have been born recently.
Yeah, so she's in the 400. She just gave me the face that 300 was not going to cover it.
I'm not sure if that quite covers it there.
Oh my gosh, I need to message Chris and ask him how many snakes you got out there.
It's a little corn snake, so they like fit in your pocket. Doesn't even count.
Yeah, when you lose count, that's when you know you've hit the big time.
When you can't even estimate within 100, that's a lot of snakes.
Yeah, but that's fine, right? It's fine. Okay, so you like Husbandry Pro? Would you recommend it to people who haven't tried it out yet?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend to try it. I mean, there's a free trial, so I mean, not everyone's gonna like everything, but I would definitely try it. I love using it.
Do you scan as you go, or do you like bulk? Be like, I fed this.
No, I do the bulk. Like I have QR set for my rack, and so I just do the QR for the rack, and then like if somebody didn't eat, I deselect the one that didn't eat,
right,
and just do them that way.
Have you ever seen anybody who has a like grocery store scanner that like scans faster? Have you ever tried that yourself, or have you?
I haven't tried it. I've seen people that have done it. I know I had.
Don't be hating.
Wow.
G's Balls and Xotics for audio only just said 20 corns equal 1 snake.
It's kind of true though, because I can fit 36 in like the baby colubrid rack, and that is less than like that number of equivalent. I don't know. It's like a very space efficient. Like whenever you breed your leopard geckos, you'll probably use a very similar baby rack. You're like, damn,
They're
this is
so
like
cute.
space
They're like
efficient.
little pencil boxes. They're just like so
yeah.
cute.
Like right now, I'm just using the 6-quart tubs, and they're freaking huge for those little babies. Like,
what did you get? I know who you got it from, but you can tell everybody. And what project are you in for leopard geckos?
So I got them from JMG. I got like hyperxanthic. I've got some blood, emerines, Max Snow, just a little mix of everything. I'm not super huge. I'm breeding leopard geckos for like mid-grade pet stuff. I'm not trying to, go super high end on the leopard geckos. Just something else to kind of have available if you're not a ball python person and stop by my table at the expos.
Yeah, just a variety.
The thing about leopard geckos, I think about it every day pretty much, is that like because they eat mealworms, their carrying cost is almost nothing, basically.
Yeah.
So even if you indeed sold them for $100, that's like $100 of profit, and it took, except for your time, but like they fill the same space as like you could put like a trio in a ball python size enclosure.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I mean, I just put in my mealworm order the other day, and I think it was like $20-some, and it'll last me like a month and a half.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially when my frozen thawed bill is like $600.
Like you keep them in your fridge, and you like wake them up every once in a while, feed them or water them, and put them back, so they sort of store nicely.
Yeah.
And then like if you have extras when you're cleaning out your mealworm cups, you can actually like start to breed them on the side, and they breed magically all by themselves on food that costs nothing. And
on leftovers.
Yeah. Basically. On like a 50-pound bag of brand, I think it cost me $12.99 here in Oklahoma.
Brand is cheap. You could do
Carrots
brand or oatmeal
So it's like, even though the per unit animal price is potentially low, even if you like shot for mid-tier and made an actual project, and you're getting 200 an animal ish with a little bit of like cheap stuff, because not all eggs work out. It's like the dollar per unit space used is very efficient. So I'm into corn snakes.
I want to know how many people are going to rush out and buy leopard geckos now that Jessica's laid that out.
you ruined the secret, Jessica.
Dang it! The problem with go ahead. I was just gonna say, whenever Texas Kid, we actually like interview Texas Kid, we'll have him talk about it, because like that's why like crested geckos are taking off too. There's like an efficiency in having a cheap, small thing that you can like make it high end and make a lot of margin, or wholesale it cheap and still have margin there to spend. These animals that eat other animals, or like mammals, it just inherently must be more expensive. So when in these tougher times when there's no margin left, it's almost better to feed them all to king snakes when they're born. Sorry, snakes, because it would cost more to get them
normals.
Maybe even regulars, all kinds. I don't know. I'm not in charge of that. Check out episode whatever it was where we talk about humane euthanasia. But the more I'm like, what do we do with like those old females or whatever that nobody really wants to breed? Of course, we can find a starter level breeder, but there's a lot of them that people are sitting on that they can't even get somebody to take for $50. So do we hold them? Do we breed them to a sunset and make the highest in hets possible? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to get farther and farther away from that stuff. Like some of the, like even the problem now is you are making like some of these doubles, triples, quad hets, whatever, and they're normals. If you hit males, you don't need that many males. And so now you're, selling them as normal because you don't want to dilute the project.
Yep.
And, it's even hard to sell normals for $20 at the shows, So.
Yeah, and they're still full. And we can check King Snake. Let's check. I
Well,
check
can
every day
I-
because I think that's more indicative of anything else. Like
Is it
they're
the-
still wholesale buying corn snakes and crested geckos and Burmese pythons and boas and all kinds of other stuff. They aren't wholesale buying ball pythons.
No, I called the wholesaler. I stopped calling him because he never wants to
He's
buy.
starting to block your number.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
guy won't leave me alone.
Yeah.
Jessica, do you get your wheat brand from Tractor Supply?
No, they don't sell it for some reason. I have to go to like, this is Oklahoma, Tucky. It's like scary here, but there's like an old co-op with two ancient, like sun withered farmers who like finally got to come inside out of the heat, and they're allowed to work at the co-op. Bless their hearts, I love them. I'm like, do you guys have wheat brand? And they're like, I would love to sell you some wheat brand because nobody goes there. So that's where I get mine. Shout out the co-op. But you got to find like the oldest, grungiest farmer store. It's the only way to do it. Tractor Supply doesn't carry it. Atwoods doesn't carry it. It's too cool for school. All right, what are we talking about? I forget.
Grungy old men
Oh,
that have finally been retired.
Andrew harassing the poor people at the wholesale office.
Oh yeah. I don't know. He seems pretty cool with it. I told him that I probably won't have a lot for wholesale for a little bit. So hopefully I have a show coming up, and hopefully I can blow some of it out at the show.
Yeah, I have a question about you sell rodents in little packs, and I have questions.
I do,
because I tried it. What size class do you think sells the best at a show? And I obviously that's in the context of you selling ball pythons, so maybe they would buy that size. But like, I'm assuming randos come around and are like,
all Jana's randos.
I sell. The biggest sellers are between weaned and mediums usually. So weaned, smalls, and mediums.
Rats.
But
do you sell mice too, or just rats?
I do sell mice. And in the hatchling season, I always do really well selling hopper mice and rat fuzzies and rat pups because everyone's selling these baby ball pythons. And so that's what they're looking for. So it really depends on the time of the year. But weaned through mediums are always solid just because the people that have adult ball pythons those are the sizes they're going to be using. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you plan to expand your rodent business as well, or just expand enough to keep feeding and producing what you are for the outside world?
I'm not trying to be like, a rodent breeder for a living, but basically like my whole business plan is basically I breed enough rodents to feed my collection and then have enough to sell to cover my cost of food and bedding and, all the supplies that it takes to produce the rats. So other than labor, which sucks for rats because it's a lot of work, I'm basically feeding my whole collection for free.
Do you just sell frozen or do you sell live and do the live dance?
I do sell live, but I've kind of changed to try to get away from selling as much live because the problem is I have a group of good customers and they know that, hey, I need to pick up from this time to this time on Saturdays. And they're great about it. But I have some other people that aren't as, considerate of my time. Mm-hmm. So they'll make me wait around for, half hour, 45 minutes saying they're on their way and they come to buy $1-2 rat, so it's.
Yeah, it can be brutal.
Yeah. So I try to get
or something. A 24-hour Walmart
selling as much live, unless it's somebody that's saying, hey, I want to pick up 20 rats a week or, something that's worth waiting around for. But selling the onesie twosies, I kind of set a time frame now. I'm available from this time to this time. And if you show up, great. If not, we'll catch up next week.
Yeah, I think that's good. Jessica, didn't you start setting like a minimum purchase amount? Like,
no, I never did. But if I was going to meet somebody outside of my driveway, then I would have, because like I literally do not care. You pull up, you get a rat thrown at you over the gate, you give me money, you go. So like I was there all the time. But that's what I would do if I did it. It'd be like $20. So you want one rat, it's $20. You want, 2 rats, $20. Because like, you gotta value something in your life, and eventually you have to start to value.
I love my frozen customers though too, because they show up and they buy a month's worth of rats and then see them again in a month.
Yeah, those are my favorites. Especially like I know people drive from like 2 hours away or something. They're just like, I need a lot of weird stuff, and you're not gonna make me. I don't make them. I never made them buy like 50 packs of stuff, so they could be like.
I don't set minimums. I just, if you're gonna buy 1 or 2 rats, you have to come when I'm here, and I'm not gonna change my schedule to make a $2 sale for rats.
Right. I was just wondering if like you thought your frozen business was doing good enough that you could cut out some of your like local meetups. If that makes any sense.
Oh, I don't do local meetups. You come and pick up rats here.
I mean, like having people come to your house. Like, could you exclude all of that if your overproduction could go to your one best friend and the show, and that was enough? Like, could you titrate?
Yeah, I could.
Everything down.
Part of the problem is like I've created friendships selling rats.
Dang it.
I know it's horrible. So I feel like I'm letting these people down because it's hard to find a rat supplier around here.
Yeah, and people get in and out, and God knows if you can track somebody down on the right time.
Yeah.
Dubia. So, have you thought about selling dubia, like Texas kid?
No.
It always sounds like you're peddling drugs. When people
draw
say
the line in the sand there with having bugs.
So you're just
out having the mealworms here, so I think I'm pressing my luck. I don't want to get into dubias.
Dubia, I don't know. They grow on you. The females are like particularly cute in a way that I don't think sounds really normal when I say it out loud. The males, I can take and relieve them, basic man. But the females are like fat. They remind me of like a little Madagascar hisser or something. I don't know.
Why do you have so many bugs?
Well, I have
secrets that you haven't told us about.
I have cave geckos, right?
Oh, the cave geckos.
I did see pictures of those. Those are actually
we've talked about that. Those are
really cool. So mine are. They're not like leopard geckos where you can exclusively feed them mealworms. They'll eat a little bit of mealworms here and there, but they need something else. And I don't particularly like crickets that much. So I was trying to teach them to take dubia out of cups. And most of them will, but I have one female who's like a real bitch.
Give me the cricket.
She wants crickets. So I ended up ordering 1,000 crickets. So then everybody gets crickets. They're all like, but now I have crickets all over the house. Don't tell my husband. He's going to fire me. But I have a dubia colony and mealworm colonies for these fucking 5 cave geckos, which doesn't need this many bugs. So
have you tried like the rodent trick where you like put the bedding with the dubia, the cricket bedding, and like do a little shake and bake
to get snakes to eat it?
No, to get.
Oh, I don't think it's the smell. I think it's the movement.
Okay.
Because like a cricket is fast and speedy, Meals on Wheels, right? But a dubia is like slowly clumps around in its little.
It just doesn't get her prey drive.
Yeah, it's just my female. Like if it was a male, I'd be like, "Bye, bitch." But it's like a sub-adult boang, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Whatever, I don't know. I'll just have to like breed leopard geckos too, or something to make up for all these fucking bugs I have now all over the house. We'll see. I'm just all about like trying stuff out too. Yeah. So like, I don't know what the market will bear for what we're doing all the time with snakes. I like high-end, more feed ball pythons too, but I think I'm okay with liking something as long as the margin is there. That's cheaper or just different, just to make my table look different. So adding leopard geckos, Stinsons sounds great to me. Like, keep it fun, keep it fresh, keep it moving. What were we talking about before that? Before I started ranting about bugs.
Going frozen thawed.
Oh, yeah.
Events.
Yeah.
So you don't think you would want to like cut down because you have too many friends? Okay.
Yeah, well,
Like
and
social
I kind
hour.
of, so I stopped marketing as much about having live available. So I've slowed down on it, but the customers I've already created, I'm not gonna like leave them high and dry and just, I'm not selling live anymore. But I've just kind of cut it back a little bit.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant. Like, if you titrate it down to just
Yeah.
your buddies and show frozen, and it can
Yeah.
still cover your expenses, then it wouldn't matter to make. Like, I probably made some thousands of dollars profit selling rats the first year I was selling rats, because you can make money, but like,
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It's like half your life waiting around for people to come get their one mouse or.
Yeah, I do
Cleaning.
prefer selling at the shows frozen. It's just easier. But the problem that creates is especially like the local show that's like 15 minutes from my house, is I'll sell frozen there. They grab my business card and then,
Then they know you're a source.
every week,
That
every
sucks,
couple
actually.
of weeks they're calling me for frozen. So
That's awesome.
you're
That's
never
like a
going to get
hobby.
away from it. But
Yeah, that's a
it
good
helps
point,
feed my
'cause
feed my snakes for free, so I can't turn it down.
I lugged my my like freezer 2.5 hours or something away to a show, but I was like, they're like, "Can we buy it from you later?" I'm like, "No, actually, you're never gonna want to." It's actually like a good plan. That's smart. Yeah, Blackjack says it's difficult to ship rodents and stay competitive with the large scale producers on price. I guess I don't ever mean like selling wide, but if he like could just sell frozen, it would make maybe his life a little bit easier, but maybe not, since they know where he lives now and they can hunt him.
That would be fair play. It really would be. I'm sorry. I'm sending you business. I don't want to breed rodents.
Up after the show.
He's always coming up to me at the end of the day. Stop sending people to me.
Well, and that's the thing at the show is like, there's some people that are notorious. Jana's probably the biggest one of sending all the people to get rats from me. So I have to send, either I have to go over there myself or send a helper to tell these people, hey, I'm out of this size. So you have to keep them informed of what you have left, as well as...
I may tell them just to take your business card and message you later.
Give him his phone number, where he lives.
I guess I'll stop doing that.
His sleep schedule. So, all right, one more dumb question about stupid rats at shows. What cubic foot freezer do you bring with you to the show?
So I normally just bring like
a cooler.
No, I don't do the cooler. I did that one show and it just
makes a mess.
The dry ice, and it's just more work than So I take a I think it's 7 cubic foot chest freezer.
Okay.
And I just pack it as full as I can. The nice part is like the one that's close to my house is I'll take that freezer down there, and then the following day I'll refill it from my secondary freezer. So the local shows, the ones where I got to drive 4 hours, once it's gone, it's gone. But yeah, usually 7 cubic foot freezer, you can fit quite a few rats in there.
And then you feel like you sell out even with the other rodent vendors there at that particular, at most shows.
I sell out of a lot of sizes at most shows. I don't know, some of the quality on some of the rodents in the area are not great, so if I keep my quality high, the people, they'll come to me versus the other people.
You mean when we pick up rodents from you, they're not literally covered in shit?
Yeah, I tried.
Weird.
Yeah. If I wouldn't feed it to my snakes, I'm not gonna sell it as a feeder either. So
Yeah, you get some grungy stuff locally, like it's foul.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like, how long have they been sitting in their poop and their pee that it has literally dyed their white fur?
I mean, rats are not clean animals, but you should have a certain level of care, even though they're rats. It's I don't want to go off on a tangent on that, but it's it's pretty bad the conditions some people keep their animals.
Purple Church asks, do you? Oh, they're talking about mice. Do you breed mice?
I do breed mice.
Do you colony breed them, or do you?
So I
do something else?
I have 2 different racks right now that I breed mice in. I have I bought like offer up like a scientific mouse rack.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do, it has like a bunch of different bins in it, and I can do like 1.3 in each of the bins. So they're smaller colonies, and I breed those in that rack. And then I also have a freedom breeder. I want to say it's the 15 series tubs. A lot of people use them for ASFs, but I do big colonies like 2.12 in those.
That's what I use for my ASFs.
Yeah. So I use those for the bigger colonies, and I've got, I think right now, 8 or 9 colonies like that for mice.
Do you do ASFs also?
I did do ASFs. Now the remainder of my ASFs are in the freezer.
Oh, in the freezer. That was drama.
I just had a real problem getting production out of them. I felt they were freeloaders here. And it's crazy because I have a lot of friends that breed ASFs, and they say their production is, crazy, but I would get litters of like 3 or 4, and I would cycle in younger, ASFs thinking they were just aging out, and they would still, not produce, or small litters. So with all the specialty food and stuff like that you have to give them, it wasn't worth it for me anymore.
Do you keep your rodents in the house or in a garage?
Oh no, my wife would have divorced me years ago.
She would have more than divorced you. You'd be dead.
yeah, they'd be finding body parts out in the backyard. No, I converted the back half of. I have a 4-car garage, and I converted the back half of it into a rodent room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's separated off the garage.
Is it cooler in there?
So when I was doing ASFs, I kept it a little on the warm side. I was keeping it about like 78-ish. Because I know the ASFs, they don't do well with the cold. But after I got rid of the ASFs, I cooled it way down. It's like 68 degrees in there now.
Mm. Yeah, I was wondering if like that's why I couldn't breed them, because I kept them in on my rats and mice in an unheated garage, and they would breed in there. Like the ambient would be like 70 something because there's just so many rat bodies floating around.
Yeah.
The ASFs wouldn't breed in that. But they'll in a snake room where it's like 81 or whatever, breed all day.
Mine breed the best when they're in my snake room.
Right. They basically have to be snake accessories, in my opinion, too.
I moved mine out to my sunroom, and even though I kept it heated all winter, I got no babies. And that's really weird for my lines. Normally they're dropping like 12 to 16, and you're having to like cull some because it's just too many. But
hold on. ASFs don't like heat. Maybe not 90.
No, they like the same
They
temperature
literally
as
want to be
snakes.
in a snake room.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so I'm moving them back into my snake room. I just made room for them, and my volunteers hopefully will get ramped back up and be breeding more. because I miss having my own rodent supply.
Yeah. I may re-explore ASFs down the line. Like if I, in a couple of years when I move out of the house and have a dedicated facility, I might re-explore ASFs.
Yeah, when you get your dedicated facility, I mean, I always recommend to people that have a lot of snakes, just throw one rodent rack in your building with your snakes. Yeah. And then when you have the hard to start or the, picky, really high end female or male, you can have those few for yourself. And like I said, they do so well in snake buildings, but I've moved them to different places in my house and they just didn't thrive like they do in a reptile room.
Yep.
Yeah, I do. Obviously, I agree with Voodoo Doll Royals. I think rats and mice literally do better at cooler temperatures. Like I think mine are pretty mid in the 80s. Like they're fine, but to me, I would like blow out rats. And maybe it's line stuff, but I just feel like they do better not that warm. And then ASFs really need it quite warm. Maybe 75 or whatever.
Once I got rid of the ASFs and cooled the room back down to 68, my rats, I didn't notice so much of a change with the mice, but the rats, their production just exploded as soon as I cooled the room back down.
You've seen a pregnant doe. She's fat. She's miserable. She like pushes all the bedding out of the way and lays her body out like this just because it's like 78. If it was cooler in there, she'd be able to like snug up in her nest instead of being like trying to dissipate heat. So right now I have to keep all my rats like lower in the room and like throw air at them just to, like, I don't know. I need like a separate rodent building for sure. And rats and mice would move to that, but not the ASFs currently, in my opinion. But that's cool. Try it again whenever you expand your empire. Do you want employees? 300 adult ball pythons is a lot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you breeding the employees? That's the next question.
Well, of course, that'll be, that's the long-term project, right?
Right.
I eventually probably will need to have somebody at least come in to help part-time.
Jana.
Well, would you want to go full-time first before hiring someone, or you hire someone part-time while you're still working your day job?
Now, is your wife interested in helping once it gets bigger?
So she's
going to stay home with the baby, right?
Yeah.
I'm just assuming.
Well, I don't know. We haven't.
Oh, you're going back and forth on it still.
Yeah,
okay.
But I don't know if she would really want to get into the whole reptile thing. I've had her. She's opened up a little bit. Like before, she didn't want anything to do with it, but now she's gone to a couple of expos with me, and I don't know. It's something that.
Would she like the travel part of it, or like if you flew her to Arlington,
Daytona,
she got to have a cool adventure and have fun? Do you think she would like that part?
Well, I think if we did that, she would just go to Arlington or Daytona and not go to the expo.
That's going to be in the clause of the agreement. Like, I'll take you for a fun dinner.
Yeah. A trip to Daytona sounds great, right?
Yeah, it does. She'd be like, "Oh, I'll be on the beach. Let me know how it goes." I just mean in my business mindedness, if she wanted to stay home with your kid and also worked at your facility where she could obviously bring your kid, that's like a win-win for everybody if she was interested. If she's not interested, she's going to put you in the doghouse every night.
Yeah, I don't think she would. I don't think she would be interested in doing that, but you never know.
See, this is why you need sister wives.
I don't know. Let me be honest. I don't think, even though I like snakes, and I know people can do it, but I don't think I think you should probably be allowed to fully focus on your child if you want to, without like being like you have to work a part-time job.
No, for sure. Like I have that luxury for
Where's
sure.
my dinner?
At home. Where's my dinner? No, I just meant like
at least that first year. Later on, you strap them on your back and do whatever you want, right?
Oh yeah.
But in the beginning, they're all like, meh.
Oh, I always just strapped them onto my front the first year and forgot about them.
I know. This is her her thing. I don't know. So you're gonna hire Jana, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, probably.
He's like, hell no, I know she's unreliable as fuck. Look at him, he's like, I will not say rude things. I will not. You can say rude things. It's the whole back rack.
Yeah, it's okay. So you also sell jewelry and toys. Did you steal it from Jana? Let's be honest.
The toy thing definitely stole from Jana.
Okay, good job.
But we're never in the same areas. Like we're normally like across the expo from each other. So I don't really feel like it's stealing because some people don't wander the whole expo.
I'm using the word stealing very loosely because we all take ideas from each other to try to figure out what's going on. I just was like interested in your jewelry because I've looked at jewelry on like fair.com and some other like wholesalers. And I'm like, do people do you sell jewelry just like to normals, or do people add it to their girlfriend to like make them feel better if they bought a really expensive snake, or like how much add-on sales versus like single?
I initially got that stuff for the add-on sales, but I find it's people that aren't really like buying snakes or anything like that. It's just people that, you see a lot of people that aren't snake people going to the expos and they want to look at something while their loved one is looking at snakes. And those are the people I sell a lot of the jewelry to.
That makes sense though, because like
the younger crowd, the teenagers, they like to, if you have $5 in your pocket, you're obviously not going to be able to buy a snake, but you can buy a ring, or
that's
some kind of costume jewelry.
Yeah, that's why I like to always be next to my friend that does the jewelries, because whoever's the reptile person in the family is at my side, and whoever's not, usually the wife, but I don't want to be sexist, is over looking at the jewelry, and so everybody's happy.
Yeah.
This makes sense.
Yep.
And then Dylan wants to know when your baby's due.
Baby's due at the end of November. I think it's the 28th is the due date.
The 28th of November?
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds really far away.
Yeah. Well, it's coming quicker than.
I'm sure it feels like it's not far enough away for you, but
yeah,
it seems like it's really far away. His son is looks like it's gonna be next week.
Wow.
Congratulations early. That's exciting. If you have a boy, you guys can have little besties palling around the expos. That'd be cute. Anyway, sorry. Baby.
All right. Yeah, Jana's baby crazy right now for some reason.
I'm not baby crazy.
I can tell you want to breed, so just keep it together.
Shops closed. No more babies for me, but I want to like smoosh on someone else's and then give it back and laugh and go home and sleep.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. All right. So, okay, let me like probe a little more because I'm obnoxious. What item do you think sells the best? Necklaces? I don't know what else you sell. Rings? Have you tried like earrings, or people are like, I can only do 24 karat or my ears fall out?
Yeah. So I don't do like a ton of jewelry. I have like a couple trays of like costume jewelry, rings, and that's pretty much all I do for jewelry.
Okay.
And then like I do some like kids like the little snake snap bracelets. Those are always so a hot seller.
Yeah, you can sell them to the same family every 6 months.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And if you sell, I'm not trying to make a ton of money off of them. It's just something to occupy the kids.
That's exactly what it is. It's to shut up and hold this so I can talk to your parents.
Yeah. So I do that. And then I have a friend. I recently started selling these. I can't even remember how you say it. It's like the crochet animals. Like the, I think it's like, I don't even want to attempt to say it because I know I'm probably saying it wrong, but they're crocheted snakes, and she makes these really beautiful crocheted snakes. And then she started the axolotls, and she's made a couple other things too. I think she makes like honeybees and like all kinds of crocheted stuff. And I was kind of shocked because she's like, well, do you want to throw a couple on your table and see if they sell? And they sell really well.
Really well. My kid has one of the axolotls. And my other two were like, when do I get one? And I'm like, when you earn your own money like your sister.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've seen, who was it? Lilac Hollow. Sometimes she's in our chat. She's been crocheting her own because she just doesn't have a lot of clutches or whatever. So she's selling them on Etsy. But like, I don't know. I think all of that is fine, right? It's fine. I'm just like, do we need actually to have more of that because people have less money to spend on snakes? So people want to come and hang out for $10. So it makes more sense to sell them. I don't know, you know, something that it's not a living thing that they can't take care of anyway, right? Like, do we actually need to do more of that? Maybe more plants? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to be the like. It's kind of a fine line you have to run because I don't want to be the person that sells nothing reptile related. Because there's plenty of those at the expo. But it is nice to give something because, you know, I feel bad for those parents that are there with kids and, you know, Mom, I want to buy a snake, or Dad, I want to buy a snake. And, you know, the parents aren't prepared to buy a snake, and I don't want to force them into buying a snake because their kids begging them. But at least if you have something that the kids can buy that's fairly inexpensive and not living and that they don't have to take care of, gives the parents a little bit of an out.
Also, when you do that with the parents, you create a relationship. And so what I usually do when it's that kind of a situation, and I'm like, well, you know, see if Mom and Dad can be talking to a stuffed reptile today. And then you go home and you do your research and you present it to Mom and Dad. And I find that a lot, I actually get a lot of those people messaging me after shows, you know, in like a month or two, or, hey, are you coming to the next show? You know, he's done his research and now he's ready and we're ready too. And I just think it's like a way more positive way to show people that you're more interested in educated clients than just like impulse buying.
All right. Well, what if you sold the stuffed snake with a care sheet, like literally a ball python care sheet and your card, and it was all stapled together, and like with each snake, it got a name. This is Charlie. I don't know, like the fake snake, and they had the care sheet so they could go home and think about it and price it out, and then but it's covered all in your branding. This is my ball python plushie, and then they would know to come back to you for sure because you already like pre-assembled a birth certificate for the fake snake that was just covered in branding.
Oh my gosh, my kid's gonna make me do this now. Thank you, Jessica.
Well, I mean that's a good point, and you can verbally say that. But if you have all these like visual reminders, I know you hand out cards, but I have people come and buy one random stupid thing. But like, how do we like make sure that they're in your sales funnel, not somebody else's sales funnel?
Yeah.
No offense to everyone else there at the show, but you know what I'm saying? You already did all this work and you sold them a snake and they go and they buy it whatever from somebody else. So we could, or even like literally brand the plushie like from China with your logo with a QR code to a ball python care sheet that's on your website and traps them in your Husbandry Pro store. Only
get right on that and I will buy in, Jessica.
Well, you can do it. It's just like
it'll take some prep.
Yeah, that I think that might be a little farther than I want to go, but
I'm just tired of taking snakes to show and then bringing them home. And I know there are people who would want to buy them, so I almost would rather go there and I would sell plushies with QR codes to the snakes, and then I would ship you the snake, and then nobody gets mites. You know, like this is like a way of like trying to change it. Because I thought about like we have our expensive snakes under the table or at home. Well, what if instead of taking any snakes to the show, they were all like, or most like the good ones were all like on a tablet, and you could browse pictures of what you could buy next time, or you could pick up locally later, but it just didn't happen to come to the show, and it's all in pictures or whatever. I don't know, something like that. You gotta like innovate instead of whatever we're doing now. To me, I'm a complainer. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever.
He
go
said
to
he was
the
old
whole
school.
I know, but I feel like we gotta try hard to do something. I don't know what we're doing. Keep going.
That I know where Jessica's going. You can't get mites if you only bring a tablet.
Well, hey, this is why we love the new auction. FYI, next auction is July 8th. So make sure you're there, everybody in the chat. Bring your friend.
Yeah. What do you think about the auction? You are signed up for like the next one whenever that.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the idea of it. I think it could be a really good outlet for especially like some of the people that want some of the pet grade stuff or lower end stuff. But obviously some of the high end stuff sells too. So I don't know, maybe I'm completely off base, but I think it's just another outlet to, get some of these snakes out of my rack and
especially at this point in life. What do you think, since you're like a guy who's working in the high end, about reverse auctions for high end animals like Eric sort of brought up? How does that strike you in your heart?
A reverse auction?
Explain to him, because I don't think he saw that.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it.
It was like 2.5 hours in.
So like for a very high end animal, let's say it's normally $2,000 retail in like 6 months ago time, but we don't really know what the right price is. Maybe you start it at $2,000 and then the seller just goes down $50
to wherever their cutoff is in their brain.
Until they hit their reserve. But if you want it, you need to buy it before someone else puts a bid in, and that's when it gets sold at. So
it's like a buy it now, but you lower the price until you hit your comfort, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I won't sell today. But if you go down and someone's like, oh, I gotta have it, they say mine, and then they buy it. Is the concept of that.
You would obviously need good buyers to be there that have money, but you obviously can make the floor whatever you want, but you're like teasing people that are there with like the potential of it going lower. But then you just stop whenever you're. But if you wait too long,
somebody else might. End up with it. Yeah. I don't know. I think that would be really cool, but like you said, you'd have to have the right buyers in the auction. I mean, because if there's only one serious buyer that has money at the auction, they're just gonna keep waiting.
Right.
We're talking about doing an exclusive high-end only auction. Yeah. And so the people that see the advertising for it know, like, these are 1,000+ animals.
Yeah.
And so it would just to draw a different level of breeders to the auction. But I think that there's a potential to move around some pretty awesome animals.
Yeah, I mean,
in a better way than what's happening on Morph Market.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the auction. I mean, that first auction, I picked up a couple of really nice animals from Shane. And
I know that pied, I was drooling.
Yeah, that pied is beautiful. Like, it looks better in the rack than it does on the video.
Yeah, and I still think regular auctions are probably the more normal way to do it, even for like high-end stuff. But it's like enticing to think about, like, what if we found the price by going down? And then if the seller's just not comfortable, they just stop. And they're like, better luck next time, bitches. But because I think there's a lot of flux in pricing all over the place still. So who knows what the real price is?
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting concept. And I mean, I don't advocate for the guy or buying from the guy, but Bob Clark's been doing auctions for years, and it's kind of time tested that it's a good way to sell
Clark
some
or Bill Siegel.
What's that?
I don't think Bob Clark's doing auctions anymore. It's Bill Siegel.
I think Bob Clark still is, but I think he's doing it on his own platform. He used to do it on Facebook.
I think you're literally talking about Bill Siegel. Not Bill Siegel, Ben Siegel. Sorry, Bill. Wrong name. I think you're literally transposing the two people. Are you talking about like BSR Reptiles or Miami?
No, I'm talking about Bob Clark.
So Bob Clark also does the exact same thing, Ben.
Yeah, he used to do reptile auctions all the time. I used to see him auctioning off like berms and retics and all kinds of stuff. But he'd do it on Facebook. He'd do like 24-hour auctions, and people would just bid in the comments, which I don't know how Facebook didn't flag that. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, they flag people for the most ridiculous stuff, and this dude was auctioning off stuff like on a daily basis, and they didn't say a word.
Yeah, I mean, so BSR is still sort of doing it on Facebook now because they have a brick and mortar. I think my problem with those is this, it's a bunch of low end stuff, and there's no reason to show up because you know that's all wholesale stuff. But when you bought your snake from Shane at a good price, it was from Shane, so it has Shane's like guarantees to it, and you're not like, this is
sketchy.
Is it even going to be the same animal when it comes?
Yeah,
so I think to me it's like a bougier version of that for sure.
And I think that's key too, to if the auctions are going to be successful, is, you know, having reputable sellers too. Like I said earlier, like at the expos, there's people I wouldn't even consider buying an animal from. And as long as you keep those people out of the auctions,
I'll kill somebody.
Yeah, I don't want animals showing up to, you know, my facility full of mites or, you know, God forbid anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no, like, we obviously don't earn anything from the auctions really. So like we wouldn't do an auction if nobody that was cool had anything available.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's no desperate need for mite guy in the back to show up.
Yeah, so like that's the benefit of like not having an expo or something where like you need to fill the tables. There's no tables. It's all digital anyway. We just don't have any snakes to sell. We don't have an auction. So I think it can work. It probably won't work every weekend forever for the rest of our lives, but it's the popular thing to do these days. There's now another new auction potentially happening.
Oh.
But it's mostly gecko people who are doing it.
Okay.
So I think we're still okay in terms of like competition or whatever, but we'll see.
Yeah, but you're the OGs, so you know.
And we're like way smarter and cooler. Just kidding. God. All right, let's talk about Go for Coco. Did Jana's studiousness drive sales? I'm so curious.
You know, it did.
What?
See, we did it.
Oh, I didn't realize it would.
I did get quite a few DMs after the 2 different episodes came out. Unfortunately, a lot of them
are out of state.
Were not local, so I actually sent them to the 2 people that are shipping right now. So I'm sure they benefited from
You're welcome.
But it happened that the first episode you guys did on it was the weekend, or right before the weekend show that I was doing.
Yeah, down in Portland.
And I sold a ton of cocoa that weekend. And a lot of people were mentioning that, hey, I saw the comparison. So
good job, the Jana bump. It's in.
Yeah, you're welcome. See, sending you stuff. So, you know, when people are asking for rodents you don't have, remember that.
Yeah. And then, you know, in the Go for Cocoa, like once those people try it, they're going to keep coming back because it really it's literally the best stuff I've ever used. And
it's amazing.
I've tried pretty much all of it. I haven't tried the, what's it called? The stuff that's pre-hydrated.
Cocoa to go.
Cocoa to go. I have not tried that, but I've tried Cocoa Blocks, Reptichip.
It's amazing, but I'm not going to pay to ship water from Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally, they messaged me, and I should probably reach back out, and asked me like if I had questions that they could answer to help me like weight and how much water is in it, you know, and that kind of stuff. But I was just like, that just doesn't appeal to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I mean. I think everybody's in a different situation. Like, if I was a pet owner and I owned 1 ball python, it might make sense to buy the pre-hydrated stuff just because.
But it comes in 50-pound bales.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but you know, everyone's got different things, and if it works for you, that's great. I know I've tried the stuff I've tried, and this is the best stuff that I've used.
Oh, like hands down, it's like so different. And I thought like, oh, it's all the same thing, and it doesn't really matter. It really does.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. and I think you mentioned quite a bit about it, like just the smell. Like you can tell good cocoa versus bad cocoa like pretty quickly because you're gonna smell either chemical or mold in the bad stuff
right away
quickly.
As soon as you cut open the bag. Yeah.
So how does somebody become a go for cocoa vendor? Like, did you have to do like a blood ritual, like shake hands
under a full moon?
Yeah, I'm just like curious because like they're getting
that
more, but like
firstborn child that I have coming, it's already spoken for. I just, when Billy mentioned that he was going to start trying to get it into the States, I told, because I was pretty unhappy with, because I was at the time a distributor for Cocoa Blocks, and I was pretty unhappy with it. I was getting the mold problems, and I didn't experience it quite as bad as some of the other people that had sent me pictures and stuff, but I was pretty unhappy with it. So I told Billy, I was like, hey, once you get the stuff in the States, I want to switch. If everything you say is true about it, and it was, that's something I'd like to get behind. And so he just kind of worked with me on it and signed me up. And I know he's looking for distributors in a couple other areas, I believe. But I mean, if you wanted to distribute it, you could just shoot him a message. I think it's Go for Cocoa Canada is their Instagram. And
I'm assuming they were doing like regional protection or whatever, like one vendor per.
I don't think.
Or is it?
I don't think he's trying to have like distributors right on top of each other, because it's kind of pointless to have that. But it's a conversation you'd have to have with him and Trevor, and but yeah, I mean, they're still looking for some people because there are areas right now that they don't have anyone in. I don't know what those areas are, but I know they had mentioned they were looking for a couple more. So.
Yeah, I'm not near anybody. I think I have one in like Tulsa, so like that technically counts. Even though it's 4.5 hours away, so I would never go pick up from them. So it's tough. But
I know Genetic Genesis just got their pallets, and I think I want to say they're in Missouri. And then I believe there's some people maybe getting it in Texas, but I think I don't know of anyone in Oklahoma that has it.
Right. Texas would be closer. I'll probably be able to buy some in Arlington just for chuckles, because someone will probably bring it for fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who's got it in Texas, but there probably will be somebody at Arlington. Yeah.
There's too many ball python people in Texas for someone not to have chosen to do it. It would be insanity. Yeah. There's your market right there.
Yeah.
I would like to be in Texas distributing that cocoa.
Yeah, that'd be that's your whole business. Like there's a vendor that does Arlington who just sells bedding and rodent food to people who come in from somewhere random and they can't buy it from where they are. So they just bring a trailer full of Sandy Chip, Missouri 6F, and you can pre-buy pallets. And so they'll bring just pallets and pallets of everything.
See, that's all they sell. Missouri. Like the price of rat food's ridiculous.
Yeah, so since you got rid of ASFs, I would maybe go back to Missouri from.
I did. I got rid of Kalmbach and I went back to Missouri.
It's not as good as Missouri, and that might be what's tanked all of our production, is because Doggy Bag went out, and then Missouri got really hard to get and really expensive. So a lot of us switched to that Kalmbach. And like I said, I didn't have litters all winter.
I have way too many litters.
But you're not doing ASFs, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, on Kalmbach? Oh, okay.
I just don't like that it's expensive. I'm a complainer. I'm going to complain about that. Yeah, but I supplement with dog food. So
what kind of dog food?
27% like protein Atwood's
Is it
off-brand
like
dog
a
food.
regional dog food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and they have an 18% that is a lot like what Doggy Bag was, but it's mini bites, so it falls through the stuff. So I can give it to like baby ASFs or hopper mouse like in the back, but they'll all pee on it eventually. So I have to use like less of a higher protein percent. I would feed dog food again in a heartbeat if it was Doggy Bag again. Like,
Bring it back. I am on the very last little bit of my last bag, and I'm like, no.
I think the ship sailed on Doggy Bag.
It has. No, I
Coming
bought
back.
out my local Tractor Supply, and they were like, you feed this to your dog? And they were like totally judgy. And I'm like, no, rats. And they're like, oh, okay.
yeah, and we do have like a really long, exhaustive analysis of what you should feed rats in an episode like 6 months ago or something. But to me, that like was just proof that it doesn't matter what you feed them as long as they're pretty good. And they were fucking awesome on Doggy Bag. So whatever. I would still supplement with dog food because they like, I don't know, the little babies, they eat better on it. And I still have to sift my comblotch for like dust. And I feed it to the stupid roaches. And
part of my problem is like up here, there's not like a cheap regional dog food. Like everything's expensive. Like
$50 a bag.
It's cheaper just to use straight Missouri than it is to get a dog food brand because there's no cheap regional one.
I wonder if you cross the mountains, like something on like
just
Eastern.
Take a trailer over there.
I know it sounds insane, but like there's like different like
crappy dog food,
different crappy dog food Tractor Supply type things, but they're not Tractor Supplies; they're another brand. I don't know. It did suck ass, and mine is still not cheap enough. Like I think mine should be cheaper. I spend $27 for the 27% or $23 for the 18% dog food. When Doggy Bag used to be, it was originally like $14.99, $13.99.
When I started buying it, was $16.
Right. So even with like COVID inflation, I'm still paying too much for these dog foods, but it's still better than the $35 for the Comblotch 23%.
Yeah.
On Chewy.
Will's Hella Heat said Kent's pretty good, but that's not available up here either.
Yeah, that's a Midwest thing.
Yeah.
I do.
There's Cruise, which I experimented with last year, and I didn't have great results with. They had mold in the bag, so
yeah.
And I talked to a couple people that are using it, and apparently that was like a short-term thing where they were getting mold in the bags, but apparently they fixed it. But I don't know if I'm ready to try it again.
I had 3 bags, and 2 of the 3 molded halfway through.
Yeah.
Or like the top half wouldn't be moldy, and as soon as you hit the middle, it's moldy, and then you're like, crap, I've been feeding mold spores.
Moldy.
Yeah, to my rodents, which if I had known the bottom half was moldy in the middle, I wouldn't have fed any out of the bag.
Yeah.
So that last bag I dumped out, and it's in a dry, it's not even in my reptile room. Like it's literally in a dry place, and it's still molding. It was gross.
So you're buying Missouri by the pallet, or are you getting it from like Wilco? Or
I'm getting it from Wilco right now. I'm so frustrated. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for rodent food, but short-term solution is I'm just
drive to Arlington
because you have room for a pallet if you can find
it. I do have room for a pallet. It's just I've already got 2 pallets of cocoa and all my other rat supplies. And
do you vend like a weird far away show like Big Sky or in Montana? Because that would like accidentally somehow put you into another local co-op zone
that you could get
a
pallet of better priced rodent food.
I currently don't just because my work schedule is kind of hectic, but I think probably not this year, but next year I may try to do like Big Sky, or I'm actually contemplating doing the long trip and going down to either Pomona or Anaheim.
Please do it, because I want to like have
and then we want to have you on after.
So
Selfishly,
it'll
do
just
it.
depend. I'm working through because basically I'm working 2 full-time jobs right now and about to have a baby. So
Well, technically
I may
3
be
because
wishful
rodents
thinking.
rodents are a full-time job. You have enough snakes to be considered a full-time, and you have a real
Yeah.
full-time. So it's actually 3.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I was looking at St. Louis, which is like an 9-hour drive for me, and I was like, I was yelling at Jana for this, and I'm like, that's stupid. But I was like, it's time to just fuck around and find out, because like doing local shows is not working for me here that well. So maybe I'll do like one far away in the RBC.
I've kind of heard that about the smaller local shows in the Midwest is it's kind of like hard to sell anything.
It's kind of like
especially the
you're
high end.
paying them to be there.
Yeah. It's a lower economic place. So like if I lived nearby, it would make way more sense, because like I could just pop in, sell $500, shake some hands, leave. But because I have to drive in and get a hotel, it's probably the last show is July.
I think we're kind of spoiled up here because actually most of the local shows are pretty decent.
They're really good. Our show circuit is still doing really well compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys get a new bougie show run by Jana. What? And it can have like strippers.
No. Run by Andy. I'll just help.
No, you're the employee, so you're going to also do. Oh, did you hear about the leopard gecko show? They're doing like a conference. It's not a sales conference.
Like we were talking about. What's the other one called? The
Flora Fauna?
Yeah. So is it like that?
No, there's no selling. Just leopard gecko hardcore action for 2 days and 2 nights of leopard gecko full frontal. I don't know.
Like, are they doing speakers, or is they just
they're gonna live stream it. It's coming up, and I'm like, they're doing it.
I don't know. We should pull another like.
I'll get some dates. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll show.
Yeah,
I just thought it was like they finally did it.
Will they let us live stream it on our podcast?
No, you have to pay to like view it. I wouldn't want to.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I was thinking of going there and harassing people, just for fun. Because that sounds fun to me.
You don't have leopard geckos? I
don't care. I'll have fun harassing people.
Yeah, it definitely would be interesting to have something like that with ball
that
pythons
bougie, higher end
snakes in general.
I'm
a big fan of like actual reptile booths at the Reptile Expo.
I think we have less reptiles being sold at our show than we do like dry goods and miscellaneous.
Mm-hmm. The dry goods are doing very well at the local shows.
But you can't blame people for doing that if they can't sell reptiles. So like, it almost must default to some sort of swap meet sort of.
Well, and you can't blame them because you've got to make your table costs.
Oops. Hey, Jana, what's up?
Big Jana.
I picked the wrong one.
Fix it.
No, we have to look at Jana.
But yeah, you've got to make your table costs. Oh, wow.
Yeah, for sure.
There's Jana talking all by herself.
What are you doing?
I'm busy. Okay, Midwest Gecko Fest 2023. So they have their own logo. They're selling their own shirts. They have speakers signed up. No sales, just talking geckos.
I would go to a ball python, one of those.
Yeah, we can do it if you want. And you can register online to watch the streams. But I don't know if you even have to do this part. It could literally just be like a bougie networking weekend in Seattle. I'm not scared.
Get right on that, Jessica.
Busy.
Well, poor Andrew just said he's working 3 full-time jobs and he has a baby on the way.
All right, who are we signing up for this task? Can it be somewhere cool like Costa Rica too? So it like counts as like a
work trip. You can expense that.
We could do that. That could become the new Daytona and just don't sell any reptiles. And you got to have like an invite only so the the people FWC, they can't come in with their matching shirts.
Mhm. It's gonna be awesome. Are you doing a Tinley or Arlington, Andrew?
I'm not.
Attending, even if you're not vending. It's hard to vend West Coast people.
I'm not. I wanted to go to Arlington this year. It's just not in the cards. I am going in September. I'm going to go to CRBE. So I'm excited for that. I don't know. We'll
got
see.
Your passport ready?
What's that?
You got your passport ready?
I do have a passport ready.
All right, good job. That's pre.
Is that the one where there's all the dogs?
So they apparently there's 4 expos that are all under the same roof at the same time. If I was reading it right, there's like.
So it is the one where you're gonna get peed on by dogs.
Yeah, I'm not getting peed on by any dogs, but I'm definitely gonna spend the majority of my time at the reptile part of it. But I'd like to check out the aquatic and fish stuff while I'm there too. And they have like a plant expo, so I'm not.
Are you gonna put any Fiji iguanas in your pants?
What?
What?
Fiji iguanas in my pants?
Yeah, you're gonna put some in your pants.
Oh,
I'm just asking.
Container.
You don't have to tell the feds I asked you this. You can
Probably not.
blink 2 times if you put them in your pants.
So Billy is getting some of those.
I know. Well, I'm jealous.
This week, I think he said it was this week. His new enclosures are showing up. So
that one enclosure he has.
Oh, look,
so
Super
cool.
Snake Syndicate brought. Yeah, part of my reason to do St. Louis is because you can get a table there. Snake Discovery vends it, and so I could set up my stupid pink, red, white corn snakes right next to Snake Discovery,
and they can just funnel them to you.
And I'll just like, oh, you want a little dumb pet? Sign it.
And at the end, you could be like, "Hey, look, you want to wholesale this whole stack to Snake Discovery?" It's a win-win.
yeah.
Right. Obviously, like Snake Discovery's clientele doesn't necessarily perfectly overlap with like an ultra high-end breeder clientele that's at Arlington. So they were asked to come there, but I don't know if their audience like matches. But what I could sell can
totally
match with them loitering near my table. So yeah,
I heard they had quite the line at the last.
You're like, I don't care. You could go from her line to my line.
Yeah,
I'll be next. Nobody normally wants to be next to them, but if you're selling that pet quality ball python or corn snake or king snake or like those like first pets, you could kill it.
Hey, lines aren't always bad by your table. One of the best expos I ever had was they had the beer and wine cart directly across from my booth.
Oh.
All the drunks were waiting there, and their kids would be like looking at my stuff while their parents were in line for beer. I sold a ton of stuff that show.
Oh, I bet you did.
How do we like force the issue to get signed up near the beer and wine cart? Like that'd be
yeah.
How much extra do I have to pay to get that spot?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
so
and you don't want to be next to the bathroom because you can smell people's
stuff.
like wafts coming out. Everybody's farts as they're trailing to and from.
Yeah.
There's definitely a strategy to where your placement.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like if you're like the first line of sight when they come in, even if it's technically further away than the one that's to the corner, that position does better because they don't necessarily come to that corner until they've gone around the entire show and wasted all their money already.
Yeah.
So I've like had that. Gotten hosed in that way a couple times because I'm near the front, but they don't come around until the very end because they walked straight in and went down the first aisle.
By the time they get to you, they've already purchased.
Yeah, that was Reptile Nation.
I just at the Monroe show. If you showed up early enough, he kind of let you just pick where you wanted to be.
What?
And I've never had that happen, even at his shows.
Right.
And he was like, "Well, where's gonna make you happy?" And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah." So literally, like the front door and the first aisle that it funnels down, I picked that first set of tables, and I had 3 tables that time. And then my friend that does the jewelry, we were together, so she had the corner one that doesn't necessarily pull people over, but because people were stopping to look at my reptiles. I could say, oh, and she sells jewelry. And so we kind of moved the way people were coming into the show around us. And it was pretty awesome.
Andrew, what do you normally vend with? 2, a corner, 1?
So the Puyallup show, which is 15 minutes from my house, I do 2 corners because I bring live rodents.
So you bring racks too?
Yeah, I did last year. I'm not going to do that again. I brought some rodent racks. But I do a little bit bigger of a display at the Puyallup show. But all the other shows, I just do a single corner. So if it's within an hour of my house, I usually do the big display. But
you could also, like you said, like re-up your freezer and your live rodents.
Yeah.
And, if you're selling out completely of mice, you can be like, because you normally have helpers, you can just be like, I'll be back in 20 minutes with some more.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, anything more,
sorry.
Yeah. Anything more than an hour, I generally just do the corner.
Where'd you get your fancy schmancy Powerhouse logoed liners?
Those I just went to a local print shop and had them printed out on cardstock, glossy cardstock.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Was that how? Do you remember what that cost?
It was under like $40, and I bought a ton of them, so I have enough to probably last me probably 2 years. I like it because it's Murphy's Law. You take snakes to a reptile show, they're gonna pee or poop or shed or do some kind of nastiness in there, so you just pull it out, throw it away.
Will's Hella Heat has a question. Did we cover this? Have you ever tried to call Excel feed and see if they'll mix and pelletize your own custom feed?
That would require me knowing what Excel feed is. I don't think they. Is that like a local thing? Like we don't have those. I don't think.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either.
So I've looked at because I'm in the middle of cow country, and I could get a custom blend made, but the additives they have are. He says they're in Tacoma, so it's like a local.
Wow.
How did you know that?
Heard of that.
Will, how did you even know that? Are you stalking us? I feel like he's being a little stalkery.
Living in your walls right now. But like a lot of my feed mills, they could like put in the micronutrients in a certain way, but I would actually prefer it to be extruded like dog food. So like I would almost rather not get it from a cow person that makes pelletized versions, but extruded from a dog food person. Because the rats and mice and all of them, babies, they like it way better. I know it's like less dense, so it's lighter in the bag. So a 40-pound bag instead of a 50-pound bag. But they don't fall apart. They don't make crumbles. They're dog food, basically. That's what I dream for. Will, chime in. Whose house you're living in currently?
If you're in my walls, check for ASFs. Please.
Yeah, please.
Need a whole nother colony. I bet they're in there.
So when you go like big time, do you think you'll have more volume tables, or do you think you'll keep the same number of tables and just increasing the quality at the show?
I think I'll probably increase the number of tables. I mean, I prefer to sell my animals at shows versus, morph market or shipping.
Much less back and forth and tire kicking and just overall fuckery.
So, I mean, I don't want to get, super huge. I don't want to have like the Bob's Balls display where, you've got 47.
Your feet start hurting by the end of walking past the tables.
Yeah. Like when you need a radio to talk to your helpers at the other end of your display.
The other end of your 8-pack.
Yeah, like it's a little much, but I could see probably, maybe doing the 2 corners as my small display and then doing like 4 corners eventually. I think Q-Ball does that. I've seen him have, I think, 3 or 4 corners.
And
Bad does it, and
I'm trying. It's just bad reptiles? Okay, I was trying to figure out what
BADD reptiles.
Yeah, they always have a whole like unit, and they have lots of people helping, so it's probably not overwhelming to them, but it always gives me like heartburn.
Yeah. And there's another guy that he started coming up from California. I can't remember. I think is it Unbelievables?
That sounds great. That sounds like a new one.
He started coming up from California, and he does a big display. He's got 2 full next level displays, so he's got like 8 total next levels. So he's got a pretty big display, and he's got some high-end animals too. He actually has some really nice stuff. Just happens they're not in projects that I'm in. Otherwise, I'd probably consider buying from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple that have pretty big displays, but like I said, the corner is a lot for me because I started off with sharing half a table, and then we started sharing a corner, and now we both graduated to corners, but we're still next to each other. And even that, like trying to bounce between one end of your table and the other end of the corner is, for me, I'm like, I'm too ADHD. Like I can forget that I have 2 corners. You know, like I would just forget one table way at the end, and people would just be like, okay, I guess she doesn't want to sell anything today. So
I think one corner worked size-wise really well when I was there by myself, but when I have helpers with me, it's a little cramped back there.
You definitely couldn't have helpers.
Yeah,
in a corner.
And it's a lot going on too. Like since I have so many things at the show, like if I'm helping somebody with a snake and I've got 2 or 3 people lined up to buy frozen feeders or cocoa or something like that, it's really tough for me to do shows solo.
It's impossible. How are you supposed to be selling rodents and bedding and the one-on-one attention that snakes need?
I did the last Hillsborough show solo, and it was a little much for me. So I think now it's like if I can't get helpers at the shows, I think I'm just not going to do the show. It's just a little too much.
Did you have a corner, or did you have the full?
I had a corner, yeah.
Just a corner, okay.
Yeah. So, but
I hate doing shows alone. I just want to put that out there. And I'm not, even if you're not busy, it just sucks ass. Like
you get to learn how long you can really hold it.
No, and not even that. Like it just like, I don't know. There's like a little bit of camaraderie if you're like neighbor is your friend instead of just like some random person.
I have been lucky that a lot of the shows that I've had people I know and can watch my table if I have to run to the bathroom really quick. And we have a pretty good group of local people. I know I've had Justin from Stoneage watch my table. Angel Caro's watched my table for a minute. So I mean, some of these guys, they're really good about it.
Yeah, it's just tough.
Yeah.
Is Jana okay?
She peaced out. She's like,
all right,
I'm done.
Well, we're pretty much done here because you kindly snuck in like in between your work schedule. Do you have anything for sale that you need to direct people to? What's your Husbandry Pro site?
Yeah, my Husbandry Pro.
Is it updated right now?
It's not updated right now. A lot of the animals on there are currently available, but I have a lot of new stuff that hasn't been put up. I post a lot of my stuff on Instagram. So if they see something they like on there, I don't know if it's a holdback or not, but you can always message me on Instagram. And then,
I almost think, and this is me being a bad person, but like the Pacific Northwest market is so good. It's spoiled a lot of the breeders there into not like hustling as hard on Husbandry Pro store or whatever, because they're like, oh, I'll probably sell it at the show or whatever. Yeah. So a lot of people are like have pretty good collections, but they sort of get spoiled locally. So that's why like nobody knows as much about all of them. Not saying they all do this, but you know what I mean? Like
Wayne is probably the biggest example of that. That dude's got some heat, but nobody knows about it because he doesn't post on Instagram that much. And, he posts a little
Right.
bit of stuff on Morph Market, but not his like super nice stuff.
Yeah, best kept secret. But that's what this show is hopefully trying to do. We'll get Wayne on eventually, and
yeah,
I don't know, antagonize him or something for 2 hours. All right. Well, one day Andrew will update his Husbandry Pro store, and then you'll get to buy something, everybody at home. But right now is not the day. You'll have to message him and then show up at his house with Will, who's also living in his walls, and do a transaction that way. All right. I'm a little bit losing it, so I think we're time to go. Jana, do you have any last questions? Dreams? You're muted also.
Sorry. I guess I don't have anything to say.
We're a mess.
We're a mess.
All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Even though we shout it out every time. Where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I don't check the Facebook very often, but I am on there. I'm also on herp.social. I'm trying to get better about checking that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have my Husbandry Pro store as well.
And you do more Husbandry Pro than Morph Market, right?
I haven't had to list a snake on Morph Market. I don't even think I've ever listed a snake on Morph Market. Usually I sell everything through Instagram or Husbandry Pro or at the shows.
Okay. Who did your logo?
You know, I just found some guy that was doing logo designs on Fiverr and lucked out, and he did a pretty good job. So
yeah, it's really cool. Was this your concept, or is this?
Yeah, like I gave him ideas on what I was looking for, and then he gave me like, I probably annoyed the shit out of him because he gave me like 3 or 4 rough drafts, and I had him like change it, you know, a bunch of times. And
oh, so you're like me.
Yeah,
I sent mine back like 50 times, and the guy was so kind. And I was like, "Can you make this little part right here this color?" And can you? I was really anal.
But you know, he did such a good job afterwards. I referred 3 or 4 people to him, so you
definitely
know,
worth his time.
Suck it up, you know.
I mean, yours it's one of the probably my favorite actually logo locally. I just think it looks really cool. And when you do your big setup, your 2 corners, it looks good.
Yeah.
All right, we did it. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
We'll quit bugging you now that you have completed your interview.
We'll have you back on, obviously for the whatever auction you want, but then whatever. Maybe we'll do like a post ball python season roundup, like late fall, of all of our like ball python-y sponsors. I think that would be fun.
That would be fun.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Dave, I'm clicking the button.
Woohoo!